there is no end to the conversation around the Epstein files. Every day, the released pages reveal new information, new names, and the ties that come under the spotlight. Chilling details of the language used for the powerful and even for the vulnerable. But there are some documents that put the attention on names which are not grabbing as many eyeballs as they should. In today's segment of Investigating the Epstein Files on the show, we will go through one file in particular in data set number 4 on the US Justice Department's website that has released the dossier of more than 3 million pages. The name we will talk about is not a victim. It's not even a culprit who may or may not directly be connected to the abuse meted out as part of the Epstein network. There is no clarity, but that is the assumption. This is the story about someone in prison who knows something about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The name of this person is Richard Tauss. There's very limited information available about this man in public domain. But the reason why the name resurfaces is because of this document. A letter dated July 17, 2020, written by 2 lawyers to the US Attorney's Office. One of the lawyers in particular, Anthony V. Lombardino, is writing the letter and saying that he represented Richard Tauss, a former FBI agent who is serving a prison sentence. We'll get to the whys of this later, but first, the contents of the letter. It states that Richard Tauss informed the lawyer of possessing important information on the death of Jeffrey Epstein and information regarding Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, the context and timeline is very important here. Remember, the convicted sex offender died in prison in August 2019. This letter was written and sent 11 months later. Now, the lawyer goes on to say that the jailed ex-FBI agent also claims to have information on an unidentified individual who paid him a visit in prison. The lawyer writing this letter wanted the US Attorney General's office to interview Richard Tauss and be a part of the investigation. What investigation is he talking about? On July 2, 2020, federal prosecutors in New York officially charged Ghislaine Maxwell with sex crimes, accusing her of helping recruit and abuse victims of Jeffrey Epstein. This letter from the lawyer came 15 days after the charges on July 17th. To remind you, Maxwell's trial began in December 2021, and within a month, the jury convicted her of several crimes, including sex trafficking. In June 2022, Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Coming back to the person of interest in this story, Richard Tauss. This is where the story has a twist. Tauss is serving a prison sentence in a child sex abuse case. He was convicted in 1991 for sexually abusing 8 boys. And this is the part that grabbed my attention, because the man who was pronounced guilty for child sex abuse said almost 30 years later via a lawyer that he has information on Epstein's death and on Maxwell as well. But the rest of the files in data set 4 have no follow-up on whether the Justice Department interviewed this man. If at all a document exists, it's not in the files that we have investigated so far. So there is a chance that officials did speak to Richard Tauss. But if that document in public domain does not exist, then the question is, why? Why did officials not follow up on this letter and get information from Tauss? And if they did, why is that information not public? What's also bizarre is that there's very little media coverage on this man, not just during his trial and conviction back in the 90s, but even now. Because this is an FBI agent, a former FBI agent, who's been buried so deep in the millions of pages of the Epstein files that no one is really focusing on him. In fact, before being an FBI agent, Taos was in the US military. Clearly, he is a trove of information. So why not follow that trail and make it public? That's all we have for you on this episode of Prime Crime. We'll be back next week with more such stories and cases from around the world. Thanks for watching.